Kelara stood at the edge of the busy space station, staring down at the gray planet below. The cold light of the distant sun glinted off the metal towers, and the hum of engines filled the air. She hugged her thin cloak tighter around her shoulders. Even here, among the stars, she felt the weight of being unwanted. Her people, the Lyrath, had not accepted her. From the moment she was born, she had been considered unstable. Her body had a faint shimmer, a trait no Lyrath liked. They said it meant she was fragile, different, dangerous even. Her parents had pleaded for her life, but the Council of Elders had turned their faces away. She will not thrive, they said. She cannot stay among us. Kelara had learned early that words could hurt more than claws. She had been denied care, education, and companionship. Other Lyrath avoided her gaze, whispered when she passed. Children ran from her in fear, and adults looked at her with judgment. Every day had been a test of endurance. Now, at 19 cycles of her life, Kelara had nowhere to go. She wandered the space station corridors, looking for work, for food, for any sign that anyone might care. But the aliens she encountered were busy with their own lives. Most ignored her, some sneered, a few mocked her quietly, assuming she could not hear. "Why do you bother?" a merchant hissed at her as she passed a crowded market hall. "No, one wants the weak." Kelara kept walking. Words like knives could pierce deep, but she had learned to survive. Hunger, cold, loneliness, they had become familiar friends. She had learned to carry her pain quietly, tucked behind her eyes like a shadow. The market hall was loud and chaotic. Aliens of all shapes and sizes traded goods, rare metals, star crystals, synthetic food. Kelara wandered past the stalls, her eyes scanning for scraps, for leftovers, for anything that might help her survive another day. That's when she saw him. A human stood at a small stall, examining a piece of equipment. His hair was dark and tied back, his uniform simple but clean. Unlike the other aliens, he did not push, shove, or glare. His posture was calm, his expression patient. Kelara watched him from a distance, curious. Humans were rare on the station. She had never interacted with one. Most Lyrath said humans were reckless and naive, caring little for the rules of other species. But there was something different about this one, something kind. She hesitated. The shadows of fear and distrust were strong inside her. Could she trust him? Could anyone? She had been betrayed so many times. And yet, she took a small step forward. The human noticed her. His dark eyes met hers, and he smiled. Not a mocking smile, not a judgmental one, but a warm, open expression. "Hello," he said. "Are you looking for something?" Kelara froze. Her throat felt tight. No one had spoken to her like this in years. She could barely manage a nod. "I'm Elias," he said, holding out a hand. "I'm a trader. I see you've been wandering around for a while. Are you hungry?" Kelara blinked. Hunger? That was a simple thing. Yet to hear it spoken with care was almost overwhelming. She shook her head slightly. "Do you need help?" he asked carefully. "Anything at all?" Other aliens nearby glanced at them, some with curiosity, others with mild amusement. No one interfered. Kelara realized that no one had come to help her, not here, not anywhere. Yet this human, this stranger, had offered her aid without hesitation. She nodded faintly. Her pride fought against it, but she could not deny the truth. She was tired. Tired of being ignored, tired of being rejected. She needed help, even if only a little. Elias smiled again. "I have something that might help you." He reached into a bag and pulled out a small device. It was simple, a smooth cube of metal with faint glowing lines across its surface. "This will give you warmth, food, and a place to rest for a while." You can carry it anywhere. It's not much, but it can keep you safe. Kalara stared at it. She had never seen anything like it. Other aliens would have laughed, called it useless. But she sensed the care in it. She sensed the thought behind it. I can't take it, she said quietly. You can, Elias replied. I don't expect anything in return. I just believe in helping those who need it. Kailara's eyes filled with a strange, unfamiliar feeling. Hope. She had almost forgotten what that felt like. She hesitated, then reached out slowly and took the device. It was heavier than she expected, but it felt like holding a small piece of safety, a tiny shield against the harshness of the galaxy. Thank you, she whispered. Elias nodded. You're welcome. Remember, it's yours. Use it wisely. And if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. Kalara watched him leave, the human moving calmly through the crowded hall. She felt a strange warmth spread through her chest. For the first time in her life, someone had treated her with kindness without asking for anything in return. She found a quiet corner near the observation deck and activated the device. A small field of warmth spread around her, the device producing enough food to sustain her for a day. For the first time in many cycles, she could rest without fear. She sat quietly, staring out at the endless stars beyond the station's walls. Somewhere, out there, she realized, humans existed, and some were good. Some could care, even for someone like her. And maybe, just maybe, she could survive. The stars glimmered, cold and distant. But for the first time, Kalara did not feel entirely alone. Kalara slept fitfully that night, the soft hum of her small device keeping her warm. For the first time in years, she did not fear hunger. Yet her mind was restless. The memory of Elias's words and his unexpected kindness replayed over and over. I just believe in helping those who need it. No one had ever said something like that to her. Most had ignored her, treated her like she was invisible, or worse, dangerous. Why would a human, a stranger, care for someone like her? The next morning, she tested the device, learning its functions carefully. Food, water, warmth, even a tiny protective field against minor hazards. It was ingenious. The Lyrath, for all their pride and knowledge, could not have imagined something so simple yet effective. Kalara felt a spark of admiration, not just for the device, but for the mind that had created it. And then came a knock at the door of her small corner room on the station. Kalara froze. Her heart raced. Who could it be? Another alien? Perhaps one of the merchants she had annoyed in the market? She pressed a hand to the device, ready to activate its shield if necessary. It's me, a calm voice said. Elias Kalara hesitated, then opened the small entrance. Elias stood there, carrying a bag filled with more supplies. His face was calm, open, and patient, the same way it had been in the market. I thought you might need a few more things, he said. Some food, water, and tools. You never know. What dangers might come up on the station? Kalara stared at him. No one had ever brought her supplies before. Not her family, not her people, not anyone. She wanted to ask why, but the words stuck in her throat. Why? Are you helping me? She finally whispered. Elias shrugged lightly. I don't know. Maybe I just think that everyone deserves help, especially those who have none. You're not weak, Kalara. You've survived where others would have given up. That matters. Kalara's chest tightened. No one had ever told her she mattered. It was strange, almost painful, but in a good way. You don't have to do this, she said softly. I want to, Elias replied simply, and I hope you'll trust me, even a little. I think you're stronger than you realize, but everyone deserves a chance. For a long moment, Kalara said nothing. She studied his face, the sincerity in his eyes. and slowly, she nodded. I trust you, she said. Elias smiled. Good. Then let's get started. Over the next few hours, he showed her how to use the device to its full potential. He taught her how to generate small shelters, purify water, and store food. Kailara absorbed every word. It was not just the device itself that impressed her, but the care Elias had taken to explain each function patiently, without rushing, without making her feel incapable. You've never had someone explain things like this to you? Elias asked gently. Kailara shook her head. No, I've always been left to fend for myself. The Lyrath don't care about weakness. They see it as shame. Elias frowned slightly. That's terrible. No, one should be treated that way, but you're not alone anymore, not while I'm around. Kailara felt something she could not name. Relief, maybe, or a glimmer of hope. She realized that humans, at least this human, were different from the Lyrath. They cared about more than strength or status. They cared about life itself. Later, Elias suggested they leave the station. Why? Kailara asked. The station isn't safe for someone like you, he said. Other species, including your own, might still come looking. It's better to move somewhere you can be free, at least for a while. Kailara considered it. The idea of leaving terrified her. She had never known a place where she truly belonged. Everywhere she had gone, she had been judged, rejected, or ignored. But staying meant staying in fear, in loneliness. Finally, she nodded. All right, I'll go with you. Elias's smile was gentle, patient. Good. We'll take it one step at a time. You don't have to face the galaxy alone anymore. As they prepared to leave, Kailara noticed the way Elias moved among the crowd. He did not push, shove, or compete for space. He treated every alien with courtesy, even those who ignored or mocked him. It was so different from the Lyrath, who often used fear or intimidation to get their way. Kailara could not help but admire it. Humans were patient, kind, and resourceful, all at once. Their first challenge came almost immediately. At the docking bay, a group of merchants blocked the path. One of them, a tall, spiny alien, sneered at Kailara. Trying to escape, little shimmer? He said. No one here wants the weak. You'll go back where you belong. Kailara tensed, ready to run. But Elias stepped forward calmly. Step aside, he said. His voice was firm but not loud. We're leaving, and no one is stopping us. The alien laughed, showing sharp teeth. And who will make us? You? Elias did not flinch. He reached into his bag and placed a small device on the floor. A soft pulse of light expanded, forming a protective barrier. The merchants hesitated, unsure how to react. Kailara watched in awe. Humans did not only speak with words, they acted when it mattered. Elias had given her the gift of safety and courage, and now he used it to protect her. Finally, the merchants backed away, muttering in frustration. Elias took Kailara's hand and guided her onto the small shuttle he had prepared. As they lifted, off from the station, Kailara gazed at the gray world below, feeling a strange mix of fear and hope. She was leaving behind everything familiar, but for the first time, she felt a sense of protection, a sense of being wanted. Elias glanced at her, noticing her expression. You'll be safe with me, he said. I promise. Kailara nodded, quietly. She did not fully understand humans yet, but she knew one thing for certain. This one human had shown her kindness when no one else would. And perhaps in a galaxy full of cold eyes and harsh words, that kindness was a gift more powerful than any weapon. For the first time in her life, Kailara felt that she might survive, not just physically but emotionally. Maybe, just maybe, she had found someone she could trust. And in that moment, soaring above the gray planet with stars stretching endlessly around her, Kailara allowed herself to hope. The small shuttle hummed softly as it glided through the empty corridors of space. Kylara sat beside Elias, watching the stars stretch into long streaks of light. It was her first time leaving the station, her first time traveling without fear of being judged or attacked by her own kind. But fear never truly left her. Every shadow, every flicker of light reminded her of how easily she had been ignored or ridiculed. She glanced at Elias. He was calm, focused on piloting, completely unaware, or perhaps unconcerned, by the judgments of the galaxy. "Do all humans act like this?" she asked finally, her voice quiet. Elias glanced at her, raising an eyebrow. "Act like what?" "Kind, careful, helpful," Kylara said. "Back on the station, everyone judged me, ignored me. You just helped." "Why?" Elias smiled softly. "I guess we believe in helping because we can. Not everyone thinks that way, of course, but I try to. I've seen too many people suffer when others just look away." Kylara felt a strange warmth in her chest. Humans were so different from the Lirath. While her people valued strength, appearances, and perfection, humans seemed to value choices, actions, and heart. Their journey was not long before trouble appeared. The shuttles, sensors beeped urgently, warning of an approaching patrol from the station's governing faction. They were responsible for controlling alien traffic and enforcing regulations, and they did not like unstable Lirath wandering freely. "They'll try to stop us," Kylara whispered, fear creeping back into her voice. Elias nodded. No, stay calm. Just follow my lead." The patrol's ship appeared sleek and silver, blocking their path. A voice boomed through the shuttle's speakers. "Lirath Kylara! You are required to return immediately. You have violated station laws." Kylara swallowed hard. She had expected hostility, but hearing it out loud made her stomach twist. She had survived ridicule and isolation, but this was force, and force she could not fight. Elias's hands moved quickly over the controls, steady and confident. "We won't harm anyone. We just want to pass," he said over the comms, his tone firm yet polite. The patrol did not respond. Instead, they activated a blockade, a shimmering field of energy meant to stop any vessel from escaping. Kyalara's heart pounded. They were trapped. Elias's eyes scanned the controls. "We'll have to go around it. Stay calm. Trust me." Kylara nodded, gripping her seat. Trust was not easy for her. Betrayal had been a constant companion for nearly 2 decades. Yet here she was, feeling a cautious certainty that Elias knew what he was doing. Humans could act decisively without cruelty. She was beginning to see that. With careful movements, Elias navigated the shuttle through a narrow gap in the blockade, the field crackling dangerously close to the ship's hull. Kylara held her breath, watching sparks dance across the energy barrier. It felt like a test, not just of skill, but of courage. Finally, they cleared the blockade. The shuttle drifted into open space, free from immediate threat. Kylara exhaled, relief flooding through her. She looked at Elias, awe in her eyes. You saved us," she said. Elias shrugged, smiling gently. "We saved ourselves. But yes, sometimes it helps to have someone who believes in doing the right thing." For hours, they drifted through space, avoiding patrols and other obstacles. Elias shared stories of human communities, places where outcasts were welcomed, where kindness was valued above power. Kylara listened, absorbing every word. She realized that humans had built systems to protect the weak, to support those left behind. It was a concept her people had never considered. At one point, Kylara spoke quietly. I don't think the Lirath would ever help someone like me. Even if they could, they wouldn't." Elias glanced at her. "Then maybe it's time you find a new definition of family, Kylara." You don't have to be alone just because others decided you were unwanted. The words struck her deeply. Family, belonging, trust. These were concepts she had almost forgotten. Yet listening to Elias, seeing his patience and care, she felt the stirrings of hope. Their path soon took them near an asteroid belt, a dangerous area where ships could easily be damaged. Elias guided the shuttle through with expert precision, but a sudden collision of two small asteroids forced them to react quickly. Kaylara froze as the shuttle rocked violently. She instinctively reached for the device, activating its minor protective shield. The small field absorbed some of the impact, but the shuttle still jolted hard. Elias's hands flew over the controls, steady and confident. "Stay calm," he shouted. "We're okay!" Kaylara felt a rush of admiration. Humans, she realized, did not panic easily. Even in danger, they thought, acted, and protected those around them. She had never experienced this. Her people often reacted with fear, or blame, leaving the weak behind. Elias did neither. After escaping the belt, Kaylara's hands trembled, but her eyes shone with new understanding. You always know what to do," she said softly. "Not always," Elias admitted. "But I try, and sometimes trying is enough." The shuttle continued its journey, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Kaylara allowed herself to feel something she had never dared feel: safety. She was not just surviving. For the first time, she was learning that trust and kindness could exist even in a harsh galaxy. And as the human beside her guided the shuttle through space, she realized that maybe, just maybe, there were places in the universe where she could belong. The small shuttle glided silently through a dark sector of space, where asteroids floated like jagged teeth in the void. Kaylara sat beside Elias, her hands still shaking from their last encounter with the patrols. She had survived many trials in her life, but traveling with Elias was different. The danger was real, but the trust she had in him made it bearable. Suddenly, the shuttle's alarms blared. Sensors detected a rogue mining vessel hurtling toward them. Its controls had failed, and it now drifted uncontrollably through the asteroid field. Kaylara's heart raced. We can't get close," she said, fear lacing her voice. "It could hit us." Elias glanced at her calmly. "We have to. There may be someone inside who can't escape on their own. If we leave them, they could die." Kaylara swallowed hard. Leave them? Die? Her instinct screamed to avoid danger. Yet she saw the determination in Elias's eyes. Humans, she realized, did not always avoid risk. They faced it when others needed help. I don't know if I can," Kaylara whispered. "You can," Elias said. "I'll guide you. Just trust me and trust yourself." The shuttle edged closer to the rogue vessel, dodging asteroids and debris. Kaylara's hands tightened on her seat. The other vessel's hull was cracked, smoke and sparks spilling into space. Kaylara's eyes widened. Someone was inside. AI. Small alien child trapped by fallen beams. Elias's voice was steady over the comms. "Activate your device's shield. It can protect part of the hull while we reach the airlock." Kaylara hesitated. She had never used the device this way. Fear and doubt gnawed at her. What if it failed? What if the child, what if she did not survive? "Do it," Elias said gently. "You have the power to help. Don't be afraid." Kaylara took a deep breath, recalling his words from before. Trying is enough. She focused, activating the shield. A soft protective field expanded around the vessel's damaged section, holding loose debris in place. Sparks fizzled harmlessly against it. Elias maneuvered the shuttle closer. "I've got the docking clamps ready. When I say now, we attach and pull the child to safety." Kaylara nodded, her fear mixing with resolve. She had survived alone for years, but now she was part of something greater, saving a life, not just her own. "Now!" Elias commanded. The clamps shot out, latching onto the rogue vessel. The shuttle shuddered as it pulled gently, the shield keeping the fragile hull from breaking further. Kelara held her breath, watching as the child's small form floated toward them. When the child was finally safe inside the shuttle, Kelara exhaled a shaky sigh. Relief and pride mingled inside her. She had faced danger, trusted Elias, and acted. And it had worked. The child, a tiny blue-skinned alien with wide eyes, clung to Kelara's arm. "Thank you," the child whispered. Kelara blinked. No one had ever thanked her before, not her people, not anyone. The feeling was strange and powerful. She smiled down at the child. "You're safe now, don't worry." Elias watched them quietly, pride shining in his eyes. "You did it, Kelara. You didn't just trust me, you trusted yourself. That's bravery." Kelara's chest swelled. Bravery. She had always thought of herself as weak, fragile, undeserving. But in that moment she realized that courage was not about strength or perfection. It was about action when it mattered, about helping others even when it scared you. As the shuttle moved on, Kelara studied Elias. He remained calm, guiding them safely through the asteroid field. She realized that humans had a way of combining courage with care. They acted boldly, but never recklessly. They valued life, even the life of someone they had never met. The child finally settled, asleep in a small compartment Elias had prepared. Kelara watched over them, feeling an unfamiliar warmth. She realized that trust and kindness were contagious. By helping the child, she felt stronger, braver, and more certain of her place in the galaxy. "Kelara," Elias said quietly, "I know it's hard to trust. You've been hurt so many times. But sometimes, trusting someone else can help you see what you're truly capable of." Kelara nodded, words failing her. She had spent nearly 20 cycles alone, doubting herself, fearing betrayal. Yet here, she was, alive, having saved a life, and feeling a connection she had never known. Hours passed, and the shuttle left the asteroid belt behind. The stars stretched endlessly, a silent reminder of the vast universe around them. Kelara allowed herself to hope, not for safety, not just for survival, but for a future where she could belong. Elias glanced at her, sensing her thoughts. "You know," he said, "helping others isn't just about saving lives. It's about building trust, courage, and understanding. You showed all of that today." Kelara looked at him, a small smile forming. Humans were strange, unpredictable, and sometimes reckless. But they had a strength she had never seen before. Not physical strength, but moral strength, the kind that could change lives. She realized that this journey was not just about leaving the station. It was about learning what it meant to survive with dignity, with hope, and with trust. And Elias, in his quiet, unwavering way, was teaching her that humans could be the most remarkable allies anyone could hope for. As they approached the edge of the sector, Kelara felt something she had not felt in years: belonging. She was still an outcast among her people, still rejected by the Lyrath, but she was no longer alone. She had Elias, the child, and the lessons of kindness and courage to guide her. For the first time, Kelara understood that strength was not only about what you could endure. It was about the choices you made, the risks you took, and the lives you protected. And humans, she realized, were living proof of that truth. She took a deep breath and looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but for the first time, Kelara felt ready to face it. Not as a fragile outcast, but as someone who had learned to trust, to act, and to hope. The shuttle glided silently through space, its engines humming softly. Kelara sat near the viewport, watching distant stars streak past like silver threads. She thought about everything that had happened since meeting Elias. The warmth of his device, the trust she had placed in him, and the rescue of the child in the asteroid field. Even now, she struggled to understand it all. Humans, she realized, were not like any other species she had encountered. They acted with courage, kindness, and patience. They did not judge by appearances or strength. Elias had given her a gift she could never have imagined. Not just the device, but trust, guidance, and hope. "Kelara," Elias said, breaking the quiet. "I want to show you something." She looked at him, curiosity mixed with caution. "What is it?" Elias reached into the bag at his side and pulled out a larger version of the device she already carried. It looked simple, but she could see faint lines glowing across its surface. "This is what I've really been carrying," he explained. "It's more than a survival tool. It can create safe places, generate food and water for many people, and even protect entire small settlements from danger. It's a gift humans share with those who need it, without expecting anything in return." Kelara stared at it, amazed. Why would you give something like this away?" Elias smiled, softly. "Because it can help. Humans believe that helping others is one of the most important things we can do. We share what we have, even when it's risky, because no one should suffer alone." Kelara's mind struggled to grasp it. In her own society, power, status, and appearances determined value. Kindness without reward was almost unheard of. And yet here it was, real and tangible, in Elias's hands. You're really different from the Lirath," she said quietly. "They would never do this. They would see this as weakness, or even a threat." Elias nodded. "Some might. But humans believe that strength comes in many forms. One of them is the strength to care, to protect, and to give without expecting anything back." Kelara thought about the child they had rescued. She had felt hope for the first time in years when that small life was safe. Now she understood that Elias's gift extended beyond herself. It could change the lives of many, offering safety and support to those who were alone, abandoned, or in danger. She realized that kindness, courage, and generosity were not weaknesses. They were tools, just as important as any weapon or device. Humans used them wisely, and that was what made them strong in ways her people could not understand. Elias handed the device to her. "I want you to try it," he said. "See what it can do." Kelara hesitated. She had never been trusted with something so important. What if she failed? What if she damaged it? But then she remembered everything Elias had taught her: the trust, the calm, the courage. Slowly, she reached out and touched the device. A soft glow spread from it as she activated its functions. Small energy barriers rose around the shuttle. Food rations appeared, and even a gentle warmth filled the cabin. Kelara's heart lifted. The device worked, and she had made it work. "You did it," Elias said gently. "See? You can do more than you think." Kelara smiled, a small but genuine smile. She had doubted herself for years, but now she felt capable, strong, and hopeful. She understood that human gifts were more than tools. They were symbols of trust, courage, and the power to help others. As they traveled, Elias explained more. Humans often shared their technology, resources, and knowledge with those in need. Entire communities were built on the idea that everyone, even those rejected or outcast, deserved safety and respect. Kelara listened, fascinated. It was a world, so different from her own, a world where kindness was valued above fear, and courage included the willingness to protect others. For hours, Kelara experimented with the device. She practiced creating shelters, distributing food and water, and forming protective barriers. Each success filled her with a new sense of purpose. She realized that this gift was not just survival, it was empowerment. She could now help others, just as Elias had helped her. Finally, she looked at him, eyes wide with realization. I want to help others like this. I want to give them hope, like you gave me. Elias nodded, pride in his expression. That's exactly the point. You don't have to wait for someone else to help you. You can be the one to change lives, to show kindness and courage in a galaxy that often forgets them. Kaylara felt something she had never felt before. Confidence. She was no longer just the fragile, rejected Lyrath. She was someone who could act, protect, and inspire. The lessons Elias had taught her went beyond the device. They were lessons of morality, trust, and the power of selfless action. Humans are remarkable, she said softly, almost to herself. You take risks, care for others, and share what you have. I have never seen anything like it. Elias smiled. We're not perfect, but we try, and sometimes trying is enough to make a difference. Kaylara gazed out at the stars, her thoughts drifting. She thought of the Lyrath, of her life before meeting Elias. So many cycles had been spent in fear, loneliness, and rejection, and now she had a choice. She could remain isolated, or she could embrace this new path, using the human gift to bring hope and safety to others. She felt a deep gratitude toward Elias, not just for the device, but for showing her that courage and kindness were real, that they could change lives. And in that moment, Kaylara understood that humans were more than individuals. They were a living example of hope, strength, and moral courage in a galaxy often filled with indifference. For the first time, Kaylara felt that she could truly make a difference. She was ready to use the gift, to help others, and to honor the trust and kindness Elias had shown her. And as the shuttle moved forward through the endless stars, Kaylara allowed herself to dream, not of escape, not of survival, but of a future, where hope and courage could shine, even in the darkest corners of the galaxy. The shuttle glided toward a distant cluster of lights, a small human outpost floating above a blue and green planet. Kaylara pressed her hands to the viewport, her heart racing. She had never seen so many humans working together in one place, building, trading, and helping each other. Elias guided the shuttle down to the landing platform, and the engines hummed as they touched down smoothly. Kaylara hesitated for a moment, unsure if she belonged here. This world was full of strangers, full of people who did not know her past, her struggles, or her fears. You'll be safe here, Elias said, sensing her hesitation. And you'll find people who care, just like I do. Kaylara nodded slowly. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the platform, feeling the solid ground beneath her feet. For the first time in her life, she felt more than survival. She felt belonging. Humans approached them, curious but friendly. They smiled and greeted Elias, asking questions about their journey. When they saw Kaylara, their expressions were kind and welcoming. No one judged her shimmered skin. No one whispered about her past. She felt a warmth she had never known. Acceptance. Elias led her to a small dwelling within the outpost. This will be your home while you adjust, he explained. You can stay here as long as you need. Kaylara looked around the room. It was simple, comfortable, and clean. For the first time, she did not feel like an outcast. The room was hers, and it was hers without condition. You've changed everything for me, Kaylara said quietly. Not just the device, not just helping me survive. You've shown me that kindness is real. Elias smiled. You're the one who chose to trust and to act. That's what made the difference. I only offered a chance. Kaylara spent the next few days learning about the outpost. Humans worked together, sharing tasks and helping one another without expectation of reward. They offered food, shelter, and guidance to anyone in need. Kaylara observed quietly, absorbing every lesson. She realized that humans did not see weakness as shame. They saw it as a reason to help. One day, a group of young aliens arrived at the outpost. They were scared, hungry, and rejected by their own communities. Kaylara felt a pang of recognition in their eyes. She remembered her own fear, her own loneliness. Elias approached her and smiled. "You can help them, Kaylara. Show them what you've learned." Kaylara nodded. She activated her device and created a small shelter for the aliens. She shared food and water, offering comfort and warmth. She explained how the device worked and guided them gently, showing patience and care, just as Elias had shown her. The aliens looked at her with awe. For the first time, they felt safe, and Kaylara felt something new: pride, purpose, and connection. She realized that kindness was not just something humans had, it was something she could give too. That night, Kaylara sat outside under the stars, the outpost glowing softly around her. The galaxy was vast and cold, but here she had warmth. She had trust. She had hope. Elias joined her quietly, sitting beside her. "You did well today," he said. Kaylara smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you." "You could," he said gently. "You just had to see it for yourself." Kaylara thought of her past, the rejection, the isolation, the fear. And now she understood that her life could change. She could protect, guide, and help others, just like Elias had helped her. She realized that the galaxy was not only a place of danger and cruelty, it was also a place of hope, courage, and kindness, if one was willing to act. Over the next cycles, Kaylara became a guide for new arrivals. She taught them how to use the devices, how to survive, and how to trust. She shared the lessons Elias had taught her, spreading hope to those who had none. Each smile, each sigh of relief filled her with a deep sense of fulfillment. She had become a bridge between worlds, showing that even an outcast could make a difference, and through it all, Elias remained by her side, not as a master or teacher, but as a friend and ally. Together, they showed that courage, kindness, and trust could change lives, even across species. Kaylara often gazed at the stars, thinking about her old home, the Lyrath station, and the galaxy beyond. She still remembered the fear and loneliness, but now those memories were tempered with hope. She had learned that belonging was not given, it was chosen. And sometimes, a single act of kindness could open the door to a lifetime of trust and courage. One evening, as the twin suns of the planet set behind the mountains, Kaylara looked at the humans working in the outpost. She saw laughter, cooperation, and care. She realized that she had finally found a place where she mattered, and she had found a way to share that gift with others. For the first time in her life, Kaylara smiled fully, freely, and without fear. She had been denied by all, rejected and alone, but she had found kindness in a human's gift, and now she would pass it on, showing that even in a vast and often cruel galaxy, hope, courage, and trust could flourish. The stars twinkled above, vast and endless. Kaylara felt a quiet certainty in her heart. She was no longer just a survivor. She was a protector, a teacher, and a bearer of hope. And in that moment, she knew the galaxy was not as cold as she had once believed. It was full of possibilities if only one dared to trust.